Well, I'd like to be able to be part of Savannah's life, but it's like they're in this collusion that seems to hate Robyn, and I don't know why. Other than, well, they're jealous.
It bothers me so much that so much of Kody's excuse as to why he doesn't have a relationship with his children sounds a lot like a response that you would expect from somebody who is in kindergarten or preschool. It's not my fault. It's everybody else's fault. They're just jealous of me. They're jealous of Robyn and my love for her. They're jealous of the fact that I'm in love I wasn't in love with their mothers. That's why they're mad. Like, it's just such a weird thing for me. Especially when I listen to Kody and he tries to be this thought leader for men. He tries to tell people that, oh, this is how men feel. This is what men believe. This is how men interact. This is how men deal with circumstances and situations in the world. And yet and still, as a man, he can't take responsibility for the things that are occurring in his life. If you don't have a relationship with your children, it's not your wife's fault. It's not your ex-wife's fault. It's your fault. You could reach out to your children. The saddest part of his whole interaction with, especially with Savannah, is that I recall when he got into an argument with Janelle a couple years, which would have been, I guess, a year prior to this particular event. And he's standing in her apartment and he's yelling at her and cussing at her and telling her that she ain't nothing and she's interfering with the relationship between him and his kids and how she needs to back him up and she's not doing her job as a mother. And he storms off, you're going to stand here and talk to me. No, I'm not. I'm a little kid. I'm going to take my ball and go home. And he leaves. He didn't reach out and try to contact his daughter. Janelle didn't stop him from talking to his daughter. Instead, in Kody's mind, he felt it was necessary to punish Janelle by ignoring his child. And that damaged his relationship with his daughter. And this, in and of itself, to be honest with you, this in and of itself is part of the problem. You're using your kids as tools and pawns to try to gain leverage and or punish their mothers because they don't do what you want. And even as a father, I have dictates and orders and my kids aren't following those instructions. Can I ask you a question? And this is just man to man, Kody. Do you do everything your father wants? When your father had dictates and he had dreams, aspirations, and goals for you, did you follow those goals? Did you follow those instructions? Did you do everything to the letter that your father wanted? Or did you become an adult and decided to make and pave your own way, make your own decisions? That's what happens with your kids. You know why? Because especially if you have independent, strong, intelligent children, they're going to grow up and they're going to see life and they're going to interact with life and they're going to make choices and decisions that you may or may not agree with. But that doesn't mean that you don't have a relationship with your kids because they don't do what you want. If you want somebody who's going to follow your instructions and directions, then you don't want children, you want employees. You want somebody whom, if the relationship doesn't work because they're not following orders, you can fire them. You can terminate the relationship. That's an employee. That's not a child. If you want to have these relationships with your kids, you're more than welcome and more than open to have those relationships, but you have to build those relationships. Here's the thing. I've heard this statement a long time ago. If they don't miss you in your absence, they never valued your presence. The whole point, though, is that at some point, in order for them to miss you in the absence and value your presence, you have to be present at some point. You have to be there. You have to have that relationship for them to miss not having that relationship. If you spent so much of your time anchored in trying to work things out with Robyn and cherishing your special time with her, and you're only concerned with what's going on with Robyn because you have your nose so deep in her ass that if she makes a left turn, it's going to break your nose, then when rubber meets the road, you're not going to have time in and time invested with your kids. So when you turn up missing and you start showing up absent in their life, yes, it's going to hurt their feelings, but they aren't going to miss you. And that's what I'm hearing a lot from this. And then I also appreciate the fact that Kody is sitting there saying that I could participate in these special events with my kids, but I choose not to because I am going to remain loyal to my wife. Now, in the first instance, as Janelle expressed here.
So Kody has this idea that somehow if he leaves Robyn home, he's going to be able to come to these family gatherings, and that's so far from the truth. Kody is alienated from 90 to 95% of his children. He is not really wanted at events. He's not coming regardless of who he brings or doesn't bring with him.
As Janelle said, you can't go because you're not invited. So you don't have to worry about who you come with, who you leave at home, or what you're wearing. You're not invited. That's one thing. But the idea that you think that if I leave her home and defy all logic because you don't have a relationship with him and you just think that you can just show up and everybody's going to be cool with it. But let's play in your world, your imaginary world by your logic. According to your logic, you're making a decision not to go to an event with your daughter because you can't take company. Do you not do things with Robyn because other members of the family don't accept her? Clearly, that's not the case. So you don't make an exception for Robyn. If she's not welcome somewhere, then you won't go. But at the same time, if your kids aren't welcome over at Robyn's house, then the hell with y'all, because Robyn is the most important thing. You're making a decision to be with Robyn, which is fine. Everybody's entitled to make their own choices. But at the same time, when you make those choices, good or bad, right or wrong, yay or nay, or, up or down, whatever the case may be, when you make those choices, you have to deal with the consequences of those choices. And the consequences of those choices are just simply, you aren't going to be connected to your kids. And here's the more damaging part of that, is that you're not just making a decision about Savannah, but as we've seen in the footage of that particular party, Logan was there, Maddie was there, I saw Big Garrison there, Big G's was there, Gabe was there, her other siblings were there, and they were present. They get to see their sister and participate in this event and be knowledgeable of the fact that you didn't want to come, that you couldn't spend 5 minutes to go spend time with her. And that affects all of your relationships. So when you sit there and say, I don't understand why they're mad because I don't get along with their mother, you're always trying to look outward and put the blame on somebody else where the responsibility of your actions lie with you. And this, my friend, is the first step of manhood. If we're going to sit here and have conversations about what men do and what men don't do, one of the things that my father, early lessons that my father taught me when I was a young man, a young boy, is that as a man, you have to carry your own water. When you make a decision, you have to stand by your decision. When you make good choices or bad choices, whatever the case may be, you have to take responsibility for your actions. Now, some people will just look at that and say that's that's the earmark of just being a good adult. I agree. That's maturity. That's growing the hell up. At some point, you have to grow up. It's not about you and what you want and what makes you feel comfortable. And if you're not comfortable, you can't go. Sometimes, you know what? Life is messy. Life is uncomfortable. Life is not safe. Sometimes you have to go into places you don't want to go, and you have to experience things emotionally that don't put you in a happy, joy place. But you do these things because it's your responsibility as a parent and as a father to make sure that your kids are okay. You reach out to your daughter to make sure that her day is special. And even as a co-parent, as a parent who is separated from the woman who he was with, if she had a graduation party for her and the whole family was there, the family that you don't talk to because of your own fault, and that occurred, then it was on you to call her up and say, hey, Savannah, I would love to swing into town and I would love to take you out to dinner. I just want to spend time with you and congratulate you on your graduation. What do you think of that? That would be a great step. That would be a huge step. Spend time with her. It's not about the big party. And that's one of the things that bothers me about this whole situation is that there's so much focus on, oh, I didn't go to the big party. I didn't get to do the dance. I didn't get to do the Brown family mosh pit. Bump all that dumb stuff. It comes down to one simple thing. Time. If you can spend that one-on-one time with her and give her an hour of your time, just you and her, a half hour of your time, just you and her, that is far more valuable than you standing in a room full of people for 3 or 4 hours surrounded by music and libations and talking and chatting with everybody in the room and maybe only spending 5 minutes of actual time with her, none of it quality time. It's about you trying to put the effort in. Stop blaming everybody. Stop letting life happen to you. Life is interactive. You have to interact with life. Don't let life happen to you. Oh, they don't want to have me around because this happened to me because of Robyn. Oh, they won't let me come around because I don't like their mama. Oh, that's a bunch of excuses. Excuses are the tools of the weak and incompetent. They add up to monuments of nothingness. Those that specialize in them seldom amount to anything. So stop making excuses as to why you don't have relationships with your kids. Start developing those relationships with your kids. Take time to develop those relationships with those kids. Give them their own time. Instead of you worrying about taking Robyn down there so that you can heal that relationship so they can get along with Robyn, you carry your ass down there by yourself and you make sure your relationship is strong with your children first before you start worrying about adding other people. That's my take. Let me know what you guys think down below because I know you have a perspective on this particular situation. I'm anxious to hear what you have to say. Don't forget to give me that thumbs up. That's my take. I'm James. This has been My Take on Reality, and I'm out. 'Cause I've been living life.